Hey, Pastor Mike Thiemann here with my good friend Joel Garcia, and we're going to talk a little bit about missions training, developing a vision for missions training, why do missions training, and also developing and encouraging all the missionaries that are watching this to exercise a little bit of humility as we approach these topics. You know, both you and I have been in ministry for a long time. You've served in junior high. You're currently serving in young adults.
Yep.
I've done high school and tons of other ministry as well as missions um, all over the world. And even in junior high and high school, we approach those and think, oh, yeah, no, we got this.
Totally.
But you get into junior high ministry, you get into high school ministry, and you start to realize I'm actually ministering in a cross cultural, cross generational situation and a setting. And what I thought I knew, I actually was quickly humbled to realize I don't really know what to do.
Totally.
Right? What was your experience as a junior high pastor?
Yeah, junior high was one of my first forays into like a real strong ministry, and so my thought going in was I'm going to train these junior hires, and I'm going to give them Bible studies and kind of express all these things I've been learning through the Word. And I quickly realized just what Mike said, that junior high is totally cross cultural missions, and so just figuring out who these students were. The way they interacted, and I wasn't going to win their hearts with hour-long Bible studies diving into the Greek. I just wasn't going to do it. It was by hanging out with them and learning to love the things that they love, even if those things were totally unimportant to me. You know, games on your phone and social media, all those things. It was such a learning experience. And so I realized when I came into junior high ministry, I had this sense of, it was really pride. I thought I was going in to serve them and give them something of myself, and I thought it was humility, but it was this pride of thinking I could just jump in and give them what they needed without learning who they were first.
Yeah. So the learning curve, even in just this, and this is still within our culture,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's still what we would call a close culture. You know, they're growing up in our church and in our community, so there's still a close culture aspect of that. There is a different culture because to them we're the old guys,
Yeah, totally.
you know, and we're not cool anymore, and all of those type of things. But the learning curve in even approaching a youth ministry here in Orange County was still huge for us.
Yeah.
Right? Even though we've been in ministry, we've done Bible studies and those type of things. I remember when I was first in Africa, I was in Kampala, Uganda, and I went to Kampala because I forget, I was doing some errands or something. And I was by myself, and I knew Kampala okay, but I needed to get back to the bus station to get the last bus to take me back out to where we lived out in the bush. And I was wandering around the neighborhood. I knew the bus station was somewhere near. It was like this block or that block, and I was lost. I was kind of running out of time before the last bus departed. So I walked up to a guy sitting on just the corner, and as a polite American, I said, "Hey, excuse me, sir." And he looked at me and he started rebuking me. He goes, "I'm gonna stop you right there. In Uganda, we greet first." And I was shocked because I was being polite as an American. As an American, if I walk, "Hey, excuse me, sir, I'm lost. Can you give me a hand?"
Yep.
You would interpret that as like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me help you." You would be blessed to help. But in fact, I actually offended this guy because I didn't start off with a handshake. I didn't start off with a hello, how are you? I didn't go through the cultural motions to show this guy that I cared about him. What I did communicate to him was, I only care about getting to the bus stop. You're irrelevant to me. You just happen to be here.
Yeah.
Right? And that sounds cruel, but that's what I communicated to him. And I don't know the guy. I'm never going to see him again in my life. Some dude in Kampala on the side of the street. But as a missionary, that was a quick baptism by fire into, oh, I'm in a different culture. And if I'm going to seek to minister the gospel in this culture, I need to learn some things, about this culture. Because I'm just going to end up offending everybody. And the gospel's not going to offend them, but the gospel's going to be not going forth at all because I'm going to be the one in the way because I'm so culturally offensive to these people. And I see missionaries a lot of times, and I don't know why. in every other profession in life, we get training, we go to school, we read books, right, and we go to conferences and those type of things. But I've interacted with so many missionaries that I ask them, well, what's your ministry experience, right? You and I have great ministry experience. We read a resume. Everybody's gonna like the ministry experience we have, but how do you apply that in a cross cultural situation? We go, okay, great. I've been a youth pastor for however many number of years. I got this. I'm gonna go to, wherever in the world and start a youth ministry. And we're going to quickly be humbled.
Yeah.
Because we're going to realize the youth ministry we did here in the States, well, we're familiar. That is our culture.
Right.
And when we go overseas, we realize, wow, this is a whole different world. It's a whole different way of perceiving things, right? The story I shared in Uganda, they were relationship oriented.
Yeah.
As Americans, were task oriented. My task was to find the bus stop. His task, his priority was the relationship first, which actually is closer to God's heart, I think. Yeah. I think that's a redeemable quality in their culture, and with our American culture, something we need to repent of. But the need for training. I mean, imagine you have, a family, you have kids, young kids. God calls you to go to Africa, go to Sri Lanka, go overseas. And you just board a plane and go, right? What are you going to do about safety procedures?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't know the culture. You don't know what streets to avoid, what people to, kind of steer away from. You don't know the crime. Like, there's a lot of, even in the context of safety, of keeping your family safe, how do you set up a home?
Yeah.
Right? Who do you talk to rent an apartment?
Yeah.
There's lots of information that you need, on the cultural sense, on the practical sense of living in a cross-cultural situation in a country that you're not familiar with. There's also a huge amount of training on how to get you there, right? As missionaries, you're not going to go to a foreign country and just apply for jobs. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to raise support. Well, how do you raise support? Right? What's the biblical model of support raising and finances? How does Paul interact in the New Testament with sending churches? And there's just a mountain of information that a lot of times missionaries just completely avoid. We have this saying where God guides, He provides. And that of course is talking practically and financially, but that's true. He's going to provide in every way. He's going to give you the wisdom. He's going to give you the knowledge that you need to be a ministry. But that doesn't mean we sit on our hands and do nothing.
Totally.
That actually means when we get called into service, ministry service, missionary service in any kind, our heart, our passion should always be to constantly be getting more education. In the sense of I'm going to read I need to read my Bible. I need to know this Bible. I got to teach junior hires. I need to know this word. A lot of times even better, because I got to figure out how in the world to communicate this complicated truth to squirmy junior hires that I have their attention for about 30 seconds, right? Yeah. And so I need to learn, and I need to learn in that context of junior high ministry, like, what's their mental state, right? Like, what's their developmental, where are they at developmentally? And all those things help us in ministry. And when it comes to missions, there is a huge learning curve, right? You might have experience here on the home front to do ministry, but now you take that to a cross-cultural setting. Our goal is not to establish an American church in India. That's not our goal, right? We have these American ideals like, well, if you don't have bulletins, you don't have greeters at the doors passing out, you don't open with 3 songs, right? Prayer, time of offering, 30-minute sermon, close with a song, that's not a real church. Well, no, that's a church model that works and functions here in America. But that might not at all be the church model that functions, right, in Russia. Right? It might be a completely different thing. So we got to go there and figure out how to plant a biblical Russian church.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I realized as a missionary was I interpreted the Bible through my American lens.
Mm.
And I, my pride in my heart's like, well, no, I don't. I interpret it hermeneutically. Well, yeah, I seek to come to the original context, and we do all that inductive Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
But now when it comes to application,
Mm.
I apply it in a very American mindset. And that's something I need to learn culturally if I'm going to apply this to a tribe in the Amazon jungle. Well, no, I'm not counting as an American. I need this to be applied in their culture.
Yeah.
Right? And that might mean their worship's going to sound totally different. I'm just going to hate it. Right? They're playing instruments that just sound like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Right.
But to them, they're blessed, and they're excited. So the need for training,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we're doing these videos, which is why we're doing these training modules, and what we ask the missionaries is that you kind of step back and take a breath, right? We want to get you to the mission field, but we want you to get there successfully.
Yeah.
Right? We want you to thrive on the mission field. We want you to be fully equipped and have the tools to continue to get further equipped,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now you got there, now what, right? There's always going to be, a learning curve. There's always going to be more stuff, to learn. So I want to just ask you to take some time to pray, to really seek the Lord over these topics. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to start off with the idea of what is communication,
Mm-hmm.
developing a vision for communication. We're going to talk about support raising. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts. We're going to get into cultural issues. We're going to get into spiritual warfare topics as missionaries. And a lot of times the missionaries get frustrated, like, oh, I got to read another book. I got to listen to another 10-minute video. I got to read some articles. Hey, it's only going to further equip you to be better ministers of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Right? That's the outcome. And I think that's something all of us want. So I hope you're blessed. I hope you're excited to learn as we're excited to teach and learn ourselves. We've been doing this for a long time. We've learned a lot of things, and a lot of things we've learned by doing them wrong.
Yeah.
Right? We've hit that wall and we've left, big old holes in the walls.
Yep.
And we're passionate about the gospel. We're passionate about missions. We're passionate about the glory of God. And so pray that we can help spread a passion, deepen your passion, and watch God be glorified in and through you in wherever country and ministry you're going to. So love you guys, excited to see what the Lord has for you, and we'll see you next time.
God bless.